If you're walking through the Amazonian rainforest and you start to smell the undeniable fragrance of fresh manure, you may want to check the trees before you start scanning the forest floor for farm animals. The Hoatzin is the only bird in the world that eats and digests leaves like a cow. These birds look weird, smell bad, and have a poor work ethic. But what else did you expect from the animals here at Life, Death, and Taxonomy?
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's 30 minutes of interesting animal info for you. Come and get it while it's hot.
Oh, you're an interesting animal info barker?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And I'm Joe.
And I am Carlos.
And today we are talking about a weird and clumsy bird that is inexplicably not endangered.
I agree with that sentiment, that it's inexplicable.
There's some things about it that make it seem like it should be endangered, but there's some other things about it that make it not endangered.
Right.
Possibly.
Okay.
Are you ready to find out where this bird is?
No, I'm ready to talk about some nicknames.
In taxonomy? Go for it.
All right. We have the fine-feathered folivorous foregut friend. We have the one-stop crop shop. And the totes magoats and Hoatzin.
Oh, that one's rough.
That one's.
But it's also called the stink bird or the stinky bird. It's got some real names.
Yeah, that's one of its. That's one of those like pith helmet wearing British explorer things to name something. It's like, oh, look over there. It's a stink bird.
Yeah.
Hoatzin. It's not Hoatzin, which makes sense because that sounds like a Quechuan word, right?
Yeah.
But it's Hoatzin.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to taxonomy.
Back to taxonomy. Let's talk about where it is in the animal kingdom. And may I add, it is in the kingdom Animalia.
I gathered that.
It's in the phylum Chordata because it's hard to fly without a spine.
No, that's not true.
What flies with no spine?
Like every flying bug ever.
Are they invertebrates?
Yeah.
I guess you're right. They have a...
They're all in the...
It's hard to be
arthropoda.
heavy and have no spine and also fly. Phylum Chordata. We already said that. I'll cut that out, or you will. Class Aves. And order, here's where it gets very unique. Here we go. Opisthocomiformes.
Yeah.
And that is...
Opisthocomiformes?
I'm inclined to say epistho because that sounds like a dinosaur.
Or it sounds like Episcopalian.
Yeah, Episcopalian. But this is an order that is... The only living species is the Hoatzin.
It's a Hoatzin. Woo, steamy bird.
Family. This is a bad word. This is a rude word. I have to lisp for this.
No, you don't.
There you go. Opisthocoformes is the order. Opisthocomidae.
There you go.
Yeah, I should have just read it in my head before I said it out loud.
Yeah, you should. Same thing with the genus.
Opisthocomus.
There you go. Or Opisthocomus.
Yeah.
That's so much more fun to say.
So that's the genus, and then the species is Hoatzin. Opisthocomus Hoatzin.
It doesn't have a T in it's Hoazin, but the actual English spelling is Hoatzin.
You think it's Hoatzin? Like hosing down?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like pizza where there's a T there and no, it's unexplained, or Nazi or something like that.
Hoatzin.
We'll say Hoatzin.
Okay. So it is heavily debated in taxonomy. It's given its own order because it's such a little weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
But some think it could be more closely related to other birds like tinamous, Galliformes, the rails, the bustards, seriemas, sandgrouse, doves, turacos, and other Cuculiformes and mouse birds.
I recognize some of those words.
Others believe that it could be from prehistoric birds. One compelling reason is that it has claws on its wings when it's first hatched.
Ooh.
Like, I keep putting these terrible things to say in my notes.
This is like reading genealogy.
Archaeopteryx. Are you ready to be described
About
this bird?
Sure, yeah.
It's about the size of a pheasant.
Describe it at me.
Some call it a pheasant. There's two words. One of the words is a river that's very hard to pronounce, and I don't remember what it is. The second word is pheasant. It's multicolored with a golden yellow breast, dark colored back, featherless blue face.
That's crazy. Like a vulture.
Yeah.
But blue.
But a little better looking than a vulture because it's blue instead of like this nasty cancer red. Yellow tufts on the top of its head.
Cancer is red?
I don't know. But it reminds me of Muscovies, and they just seem cancerous.
They seem, irradiated for sure.
Yeah. They have yellow tufts on the top of their head and red or brownish orangish flight feathers.
And when you say tufts, you mean a full-on mohawk.
Yes. They have a long tail with distinct tail feathers that splay out. They have a long neck with a small little head, and they look pretty prehistoric. So if you've ever seen one, like a picture of one of those like ye old birds, then it looks like that. So now we come to the part of the description where I need to tell you how big this thing is, and it's really hard because you've never seen it. So I need to put it in relatable terms.
I don't know what we're going to do about this because I have no way of relating anything to anything. If there was only some sort of research you could have done beforehand. Some sort of segment, some sort of game we could play.
There is indeed. This brings us to the listener's favorite part of the show where we put things in relatable terms, and in this season 3, it's in a game show format. Say it with me now. 3, 2, 1. Measure up! I like that. That was good.
I sang it.
Yeah. We should have both done that.
I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna try to sing in every episode if I remember.
Yeah,
that was my song.
Did we talk about how 100% of listeners polled want to hear you sing more?
Is how many listeners responded?
I think like 8.
8 people wanted to hear me sing more?
Yes.
Well, there was my song. You just heard it.
So here we go. Let's talk about their wingspan. So I found very definitive sizes for this one.
Okay.
Instead of ranges. So 65 centimeters.
It's also
found
exactly
a range that was 62 to 68. So 65 centimeters or 26 inches. How many Hoatzins would it take to get to the top of Machu Picchu?
Oh, I've climbed to the top of Machu Picchu.
Oh, before we get started.
From where?
The base.
The Amazon River's down there at the bottom.
The Amazon River, sea level. That's how mountains are. Right? That's how mountains are measured.
Sure.
But before you answer, I just want to point out the animal's distribution. It lives in South America, in rainforesty areas, including Brazil, Peru on the eastern side. It's basically a circle, including like 7 countries.
Yeah, it's kind of, but it seems based in the Amazon basin.
Yes. It is protected in this one rainforest in Brazil, and it's Uruguay's national bird, I think.
Okay. Do you want to hear a joke that I came up with?
Sure.
What did the native Peruvian say to his son when he found him in the Hoatzin aviary?
What?
Don't let me catch you in here again. Get it? Because Quechuan is the native people in Peru.
Sure. Okay. Also Incas.
The Inca is the king of the Quechuans.
Oh, nice. So, anyway, you're going to hear a Peruvian theme.
Okay.
Just FYI.
All right. So, what was the wingspan again?
65 centimeters or 26 inches.
26 inches. So, we're looking at 2 feet and some change to the top of Machu Picchu.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to say Machu Picchu is 1,000 meters above sea level. So we'll just go with the centimeters one. And... I have a calculator. I brought my phone. I'm going to do math. Do math with technology.
See, you're supposed to be thinking about the bird and, things you're familiar with, like Machu Picchu. And just eyeball it. Be like, well, I know I can, this is how big the bird is. So how long would it take to get to Machu Picchu? It's a game. It's not a math problem.
It's always a math problem. You don't understand. I don't know how to do this math problem.
Well, you have to convert you said 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
So 65 centimeters. How many, I'm assuming, we just got to convert 1,000 meters to centimeters and divide it by 65.
All right. 1,538.
Wrong.
Dang it.
3,624.
Okay, so it's 2,000 meters above, or no, it's not. It's 2,500 meters above sea level.
Sounds right. Let's talk about length. It's 65 centimeters and 26 inches. They're about as long as they are their wingspan, including the tail. So how many Hoatzin, I keep saying. How many Hoatzin would it take to equal one topo, an Incan unit of measurement?
Oh,
Do you need a hint?
I'm gonna say. Well,
let me give you a hint. A topo is 60,000 thotkis.
Okay, good. Topo must be.
That actually does help you.
Does it? It does tell me
60,000 is a big number.
Yeah, it tells me that it's a large unit of distance. So it might be their mile or something like that. So I can't say anything but 2,000. I can't say anything but 2,000.
Okay, so a topo is like 4.6 miles. So that's 12,068 Hoatzin.
Okay. I had no way of knowing that.
I know.
I have no way of even estimating.
This is my way of trying to avoid a math problem.
But I can't even estimate.
Yeah, no.
So I can't do math and I can't estimate.
This one's impossible. So here we go. Let's talk about weight. They are 816 grams, or 1.8 pounds. Now, I wanted to find a Peruvian monument or statue or an Incan weapon that I could find the weight for. No such thing exists. There is no measurement of weight in the entire country of Peru except for this one thing.
On the internet.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
The average birth weight of Peruvian infants decreases with every 500 meters of altitude by a specific rate. How many infant birth rate decreases would it take to equal an entire Hoatzin?
8.
No.
Dang it. I'm not even going to try to wrap my mind around what you just said.
So basically they did studies on the birth weight and how altitude affects it because Peru is in high altitudes.
I know. It makes you sick to go there if you're used to sea level.
So they found that Peruvian infants' birth weights decrease by 65 grams, there's a clue, every 500 meters of elevation.
Okay, so the answer is like what, 1?
No, so what you're looking for is the rate of decrease versus the Hoatzin. Not the actual birth rate. So, you weren't terribly off with 8.
Does my face tell you that I'm going to continue thinking about this?
It's 12.5 Hoatzin.
Great. I'm going to put that information in my pocket. Throw in the dumpster for later.
You don't think it's interesting that birth weight decreases by altitude?
That's interesting. That's as far as I want to think about it. Because I am not a South American anthropologist.
This is the best one yet. This is the season finale of this season, season 3.
Season finale? Wow.
And I think we really nailed it with this segment of Measure Up.
I feel like we've dragged people along long enough. We should reward them next season with something better.
This is the best it's gonna get.
No.
All right. Now with the best segment of this show ended.
Can we please talk about the Hoatzin bird?
Let's talk about some fast facts. They eat about 82% leaves, 10% flowers, and 8% fruit. That's the makeup of their diet. Mostly leaves. They clamber around branches clumsily. They're pretty tame and will let you get pretty close before they flush, which is the word for
fly away,
getting away when things get near you. If you're a bird.
Scamper, I think, is the correct term.
If you show up too much, they'll get sick of you and get agitated. They are social and nest in colonies. Adults nest above water in seasonally flooded forests. Hatchlings can climb away from nests when threatened by predators, using their little claws.
Using their talons.
But they may also drop into the water and swim to safety.
Cool.
Yeah. So one thing that is like, oh, they're colorful, they're interesting, and they let you get really close. Why aren't they all dead? Well, two things. One is that they taste bad, apparently. Some tribes in the area will hunt them, but they're pretty gross.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take eggs, but also, whatever. Sometimes they'll take eggs, not often. But they also are really good at getting away from predators when they're young, so they live a lot.
I just realized these guys kind of look like male peacocks without all of the fun feathers.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all you got? I'm picturing like these bat-like claws as they climb out of the water.
Yeah, sort of like that.
All right, so here's the major fact about the Hoatzin bird. Like you said, they are almost entirely frugivorous. So we've learned frugivores. We already had herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores down pat.
Insectivores. Ever heard of that?
I don't think have we mentioned that on the show yet?
It's somebody who eats insects.
Like
John the Baptist.
Makes sense. But yeah, so frugivorous means eater of plants. Or leaves, specifically, not just plants. Herbivorous plants. So 92% leaves and flowers, if you include the both. And those things are pretty tough to digest. Not a ton of animals eat exclusively leaves.
Yeah. Cell wall.
Yeah, it's tough to get those things through the system. Also, some of the flowers and leaves excrete this defensive chemical to discourage further eating. So that's another reason why not.
Is that why green plants taste bad? Is that why kale tastes bad? Oh, I like to think that's why kale tastes bad.
It's why salads are bad for you and should never be eaten, because
should only eat ice cream cones.
Exactly, a swarm of them.
Yeah.
So how does the Hoatzin deal with being a straight up vegan in the most vegan sense? Well, it copies mammalian digestive systems. It's time to get a little bit gross. So according to this riveting journal I read, skimmed, glanced at, in the American Ornithological Society, called The Structure and Function of the Digestive Tract of the Hoatzin. Page turner.
Yeah, put that in your bathroom.
Uncle John's Structure and Function of the Digestive Tract of the Hoatzin. So this thing has a fully functional foregut fermentation system. So that is as opposed to a hindgut fermentation system like we have. It all depends on where you turn things into poop.
Oh, well, good.
So
get that stuff done early.
So once it's in your stomach, it ferments after it's been digested from your stomach. In this case, it ferments before it gets to the stomach in a special pouch. So this is done in the foregut, which is it has this sac
crop
in the front of its neck/chest called a crop, which a lot of birds have and some other animals have.
But theirs is different.
Theirs is huge.
Yeah. It's
a lot bigger than other. I saw a comparison between a hawk and the Hoatzin, and it's just it's basically having a huge stomach.
It looks like a stomach. It's even shaped sort of like a stomach.
I've brought a visual aid.
I just want to point out to the listener that I put my notes in digital format, and it looks like you have drawn the JPEG that I have in my notes.
It's the full digestive tract of a Hoatzin. There's a mohawk. The esophagus.
We have to put this on.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of this and put it
somewhere
on LDtaxonomy.com and also Facebook. So you see here, it's got this big crop.
Right in front in the breast region.
If you punch it in the chest, you'd punch its crop. So, and it's got, unlike other birds, there are multiple segments to it. Here's a zoomed in version
Of the lower esophagus and the crop.
Yeah, so food can pass through it. Like a lot of birds have crops so that they can keep food in their stomachs and be able to regurgitate it quickly for their disgusting children.
Also, they keep stones in there.
Do they?
Yeah, to grind it up.
Like an alligator does?
Do they do that?
Yeah, because they don't chew either. They'll sometimes eat stuff to like grind up the food in there. But the Hoatzin bird has serrated like ridges in its crop, so that as it goes down its esophagus and into the crop, it cuts up the leaves so that it doesn't have just full leaves in there.
And it has esophagus on both sides of this crop.
Yeah, it has an upper esophagus, which is where its mouth is, and then it has a lower esophagus on the other side of the crop.
Which are sinuous, sort of like intestines.
Yeah, well, and they essentially function as intestines, but then it goes into the gizzard area. So this is all before the stomach. So the food, the leaves they go down to the crop and they ferment there. So essentially they become poop in its esophagus, and then like it goes into the stomach. This is why these birds smell awful.
They have poop breath?
They have poop breath.
No!
But it smells like manure because cows eat
leaves.
Or hay or whatever, so it smells like that. Also, if birds had a crop, it would be chickpeas. So while the food is digesting in the second major crop chamber, that can take up to 45 hours of digestion. Because, like I said, it is not easy to digest leaves. So it takes forever.
When cows and stuff do it, they'll like regurgitate that stuff and chew it some more.
Yeah.
That's called chewing the cud.
Chewing the cud.
I don't imagine a bird does that.
It moves through the chambers, but I don't think it moves back up through the chambers to be chewed again. So it just sits there, and also cows have multiple stomachs to digest and to eat more, and that's why like grazing animals have to eat so much, because leaves are also really low in nutrients and there's no protein in them, and it's just like you don't get much from leaves.
Great life choice.
Well, yeah, exactly. This is why like the panda bear is trying to extinct itself.
I'm just gonna eat this bamboo.
It's like I have to eat all day or I will die. Like that's not a good way to live your life.
That's not sustainable.
Eat a fish.
You need some time for social gatherings.
Yeah, the panda does. He needs to go meet some ladies, some lady pandas.
And karate practice.
And he needs to kung fu.
Fine.
It's a completely different country.
You don't think there's a...
No, there's zero karate in China.
No, I was going to say you don't think there's a panda in Japan?
Oh, there is one, but he doesn't know karate. So having a huge crop for the Hoatzin bird means that it doesn't have the well-developed flying muscles that other birds have, which means it's not very good at flying.
Nope, real clumsy.
So it likes to hop around from tree branch to tree branch.
Same.
It can fly, though. It's just not very good at it.
It's got a pretty decent wingspan. You'd think it'd be good at it.
I think it needs the decent wingspan to accommodate how like weak its wing muscles are. There's got to be a word for that. Pecs. There you go. It's a bird. Pecs. This is great. So most of their day is spent eating and sitting around and digesting. So they're pretty lazy. And that's also probably why it takes them a long time to, what'd you say?
Flush?
To flush.
They're like, I'd like to not move, thank you.
It's like, let me be 100% sure that you're gonna kill me before I fly away. But also the fact that they smell so bad is probably the reason why they weren't hunted to extinction. Because usually things that are easily approached, like the dodo bird, they go the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk about their gizzard.
I don't know anything about that.
They have a gizzard, and that's a fun word to say.
I said that. I did say that they had a gizzard.
Oh, good. And their little intestines are real thin. Their small intestines.
I didn't look at the rest of the digestive tract.
And their caeca is about 10 centimeters long.
Their what?
C-A-E-C-A.
I don't like it.
I think that's real close to the butthole. That's why it's called caca.
Yeah, we got to let the collared pika know that we do talk about all the other animals' cloacas.
We didn't talk about their cloaca yet.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess if you're going to be a slow, friendly bird, you might as well give off a foul odor.
Oh, no.
Do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. So that's all we got for the Hoatzin bird. Opisthocomus. Hoatzin. I wanted to say that one more time, but I couldn't. So, for you out there, the listener, eat some leaves, spend 2 days digesting, and always maintain a well-dusted crop, like we do here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
And welcome to the end of the episode. That'll about do it for Season 3 of Life, Death, and Taxonomy. And that means it's time for some thank yous. But first, we've got a little special announcement.
Yes, we do. The time has come to rep your favorite animal podcast. That's us. We finally have some cloth to drape over your torso in the stitched pattern of a t-shirt. Click the link in the show notes to access the Life, Death, and Taxonomy store on tpublic.com. We only have one design on there now, but we've got a bunch more on the way. And when people inevitably stop you on the street and in the grocery store asking about your sweet new duds, you can send them our way for cool merchandise and, of course, 30 minutes of interesting animal info. Please buy a shirt. Clothing is the one thing that separates us from the lesser animals.
And if you don't like t-shirts, get a mug, or like a mouse pad, or like a tapestry. And they come in like 20 colors.
I need a tapestry.
Yeah, do it.
For my office.
Get a towel. Bring it to the gym. Talk to people about animals at the gym.
Obnoxiously display your towel in places.
Peacock around the gym.
Very good. With Hoatzin around the gym.
Yeah.
Look at Joe over there, Hoatzin around the gym.
Yeah, so do it. Now, it's time to thank the reviewers. We've gotten 3 new reviews this season from Okie Lane, Miss Molly BK, who is from the Yeah No Yeah podcast, which is very funny, and American at Heart, who said it was extremely awesome, with 3 exclamation points.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for the reviews, and if you have not left a review yet and you want to hear your little tag listed at the end of the season, 5 stars, please.
Yeah.
It really helps us to get reviews, and it helps other people know that this is the place to get some animal info.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, we want to thank Mr. Brian.
Mr. Brian.
AKA at xnamaru on Twitter. He does all of the art for every episode, and he made the art for the t-shirt. So go give him a follow and tell him that his stuff is amazing, because if you do, you're not going to be lying, because it is.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without Brian and his amazing artistic skills. And you can look forward to more of his artwork on our future merchandise.
Yeah.
So that'll about do it for the end of our episode and the end of Season 3. But catch us next week in Season 4 for more interesting animal info.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
This podcast is brought to you in part by the Brain Trust Brothers Network. For more information about this podcast or others, visit braintrustbros.com.
I didn't like that episode.
What? It had so many puns. You love puns.
I love puns, but I didn't feel like it didn't flow as well as the other ones have. Oh, gosh.
It went by quickly.